Hey guys, very quickly, we found out as we started editing this episode that all of Antonio's video got cut. So you're going to see a picture of him whenever he's talking. His audio is there, but his video is not. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up. This is episode 22 of the Rhythm and Rhymes podcast. I'm your host, AJ Hughes. I'm here with my co-host, Antonio Hughes. How's it going? How was your first week at FAMU, bro? I haven't asked you about that.
Well, my first week at FAMU, like I said, kind of weird. We had the hurricane going, so I kind of had to find my way the first day. But then after that, it was almost like I'm sitting around now. I'm kind of waiting for my classes to start, but I've kind of been getting some work done, figuring out how my schedule is gonna go. Yeah, just kind of figuring out like what I'm gonna be able to do out here. Kind of looking for a job and stuff. Went to a couple parties, some game nights. Got washed in spades one time because out here they play with the twos, like the two of hearts. Yeah, I played
You played
spades. Like it was
spades?
a game night out here, so they do like Cards Against Humanity and Uno stuff like that. But we had a spades table too, and these two girls watched me and my roommate like beat us crazy 2 games straight. I was kind of sick about it, but man, it's been pretty good out here. I mean, I've been meeting people. That was one of the things I was definitely worried about, like coming in as a transfer. I definitely felt a little weird, like having to put myself out there by myself. But it hasn't been as bad as I was making it out to be in my head. And I mean, it's been real easy to just kick it with people, meet new people. There's a lot of stuff out here. I went to the art district too. That's one of the things I really enjoyed that I did by myself. Like I kind of just walked around there. I really want to go back down there another day though, because they have a lot of shops down there, and like they even have different like art studios and skate shops, like just a bunch of cool stuff down there that I really want to go check out. But I mean, I've been liking it so far. Definitely, definitely.
What are they playing now that you're in Florida? What are they playing at the parties? Is it like sexy red? Like what
I
are they
mean,
playing?
I feel like they're not playing that much different stuff from what I normally hear. Like I definitely feel like I do hear more of the southern artists. I don't hear as much like Chief Keef. They don't really play Finito and like stuff like that out here. And like some of the artists you'd hear up north. But I feel like the music is definitely pretty similar because it's a college campus at the end of the day. Most of the bars around or the clubs are like college bars, college whatever. But I think on the certain nights, like there was a Latin night and then there was a Caribbean night and there's going to be another Caribbean night that I'm going to go to. Like you're going to hear different stuff, but I definitely feel like I've been hearing pretty similar stuff to what I normally hear. I mean, the one thing I will say though is because Florida State and FAMU are so close, there's like two clubs that we kind of share, and you can see like the clear distinct difference between like the music and the vibe of the white nights and the black nights. That's kind of just what we call them. But it's like last night we went over to one bar and you could just hear the like they were playing I think they were playing Lil Baby, and then you just heard the EDM flip come in, and we were like, "Yeah, it's a white night. We don't even need to go in there. We're not even gonna go check it because I know it's playing. I can hear it." Like, but I don't know. I feel like the music is kind of what you'd hear from people my age, I guess. Like what's popular right now. But yeah.
I was gonna say when you leave Chicago, you realize like they don't put no respect on our name. Wherever you go, they be like Chicago in the building, and then they play Finito, and then that's it. That's what you usually get. That's usually all you get when you go out. But I'm not gonna lie, this weekend I wasn't really listening to music like that. Like I just been kind of like quiet. Like I ain't been really jamming like that. So I listened to a lot of stuff this morning before we decided to record. The 2 pack that Lil Yachty and JID gave us. I want you to get into that, but I was genuinely surprised about that. So
I was really
what happened with
surprised
that?
about it too. I feel like I've been really big on JID the past couple of years. Like the Forever Story was one of the best albums of 2022.
What what were the names of
It
what were the names of the
was
songs again?
Van Gogh was one of them.
I can pull it up while you're talking about them.
Um,
Go ahead.
Van Gogh was one of them, and I think the other one was Half Dealing Dope. That's what I think it was called. Don't quote me because I gotta figure that out. But I really liked the songs. I would say I probably liked Van Gogh better. It was kind of a slower vibe, but I've been really big on Jid for the past couple of years. Like I really think he's gonna be one of those artists that's gonna be really big for the next couple of years because he's super versatile and he plays around with his voice a lot, and that's a really big thing in music. One of the songs I didn't put on here was Earth Gang and Jid. They put out a song too, and that song had a lot of crazy like vocal, just a lot of crazy vocal change ups, a lot of crazy sounds on there. This, I also want to say that Lil Yachty has really been on a tear, like rap wise, for the past like year. Like this has really been one of those years where you've heard a lot from him. And coming off of the like more rock or alternative album, I do kind of like to hear it because a lot of people were sitting there like, "What is this? Like, I don't understand it," but I do like to hear him get back in his actual like rap bag. And I think because of like the kind of generation he came up in. He's a mumble rapper. He's this, he's that. People don't really put respect on like how good of an artist he actually is. And I feel like for the type of music that's being made now and has been being made for the past, like, I'd say probably like 5 years, he's fit in very well and he's performed. So I definitely would say go check these out. Like I like them. And I think him and Jid was kind of a crazy like combination. Like I didn't think them two together.
No, I agree with you. The first song was called Half Doing Dope, and it was featuring Baby Tron. And I'm wondering, well, I have a couple of things. First, I hope they put out more music because I did like both of these. So I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they put out more because they obviously led with Black Boys. So I'm assuming this is like their attempt at a duo group name or whatever. Baby Tron, surprised. Every time I hear a Baby Tron song, I'm surprised about. He's really rapping. He's really rapping, and it's like I don't know if I would expect that from him. And so I really enjoyed the first song. I enjoyed it more than Van Gogh. But I was saying that last night. I heard something else from Lil Yachty, and I was like, "Yo, Lil Yachty's career arc needs to be studied," because like he's good at like he'll give you a hit, he'll kind of just like dip off and do his own thing for a bit, and they'll come back and give you another one. And it's like I remember before this rock alternative album, the last thing from him that I heard that I was like, "This was pretty good," was that Detroit album, which was a couple
Yeah.
years ago, I think. And so I think he's just like pretty good at just sort of adjusting and trying new things and sort of just making his way through because I don't know, there's certain artists where you just hear them and you're like, yeah, whatever. But it's like Lil Yachty has been consistently popping up for the last couple months in my feed. So I'm definitely going to keep listening to this Half Doing Dope song. But I was genuinely surprised. I
Yeah, I
didn't
feel
expect
like
these two either.
Yachty's
So
really like he understands marketing and the internet very well. I mean, it kind of makes sense because of the generation he came up in, and I mean, one of the first nicknames they gave him was King of the Teens. I think he just kind of understands that. He understands his audience very well and like what they want to hear and what's popular. And I mean, he was like I remember I talked about Yachty before, but he was one of those people who was really big on the Detroit rap and how it is now. Before, like he was one of the first people to be on that. So I mean, him, Baby Tron, it definitely makes sense to me. And Baby Tron also, like, I feel like his look and like the whole idea around him definitely makes you think like, can this guy really rap? Like, is he really good? Like, who is this guy? This guy from Michigan. But I mean, he's when you really get into some of his songs and even some of the like the samples he picks, like I really like how he'll get into some of like his like crazy old Detroit like Motown bag. Like I don't know, I really like this 2-pack though. I definitely did.
he's him for sure. He's him. But Teezo, so Teezo touchdown, you're gonna have to inform me of this because I don't really keep up with him. I seen like he came up in the news. 'Cause I think Drake posted that he listened to the album or something like that. Did the album
The
drop or
funny
was it
thing
just a
about
single?
Teezo
I
is he
haven't.
hasn't dropped one album. Like he has 6.7 million followers on Spotify right now, and he hasn't dropped a single album. He's been mostly on like features, and he's dropped a couple singles. This was a single. He put it out with Janelle Monet, and I really like the song. And I'm excited to hear what the full album is gonna sound like because some of the other singles he's put out, it's just like a really different sound. And he even did an interview. I think it might have been Zane Lowe. I don't really remember. I gotta go back and watch it again. But he did an interview and he was talking about kind of like this new genre he was kind of messing with called like boom pop, or it was something in that area. But when Drake posted him, I kind of was confused about it too because of course I had heard him on Tyler's album. I had heard a couple of his features, but I was like, I don't really understand him that much, but then I really went and listened, and I feel like a lot of his influence is clearly from the 80s and 90s. He had a flip of It's Tricky by Run DMC that he put out like a couple weeks ago. That was actually pretty decent, and I was excited to hear what this album sounds like. Like, I feel like we've been talking about where rap is going to go and what it's going to sound like, and I think he's one of the people trying to change it because he's trying to put in these different sounds and bring in these different things to rap that haven't been there. And even with his look, it's super like punk and rock, and like you see the nails in his dreads, like it's a whole thing. But I really think like this album is gonna sound way different from what we've heard. And he's on there like one of the songs or two of the songs like on the It's Tricky flip, and even on this one he's definitely rapping, but there's moments in there where he's like he has melodies, or you hear crazy guitar breakdowns and stuff like that. It's just like it's a whole experience with his music, so it's definitely something I want to hear for sure.
Yeah, the song is called "You Thought" featuring Janelle Monet, and the more I sit back and just think and just sort of listen, I'm not mad at where hip hop's going. I think, well, where rap is going. Let me say that hip hop and rap are different. I'm not mad where rap is going. I just think there's so many different. There's
Yeah,
something for everybody now, which is pretty cool. And so like I think before where like the labels obviously they're gonna push a sound and they're gonna try and push what they think will work. But because there's so many independent artists and there's just so many artists in general, you're gonna get a little bit of everything. Like I'm gonna dive back into Babytron's catalog after like that one verse made me want to do it, and it just makes me wonder like how many other artists have I been like sort of glancing over because of the name or like maybe the production style in which I think they work on, but I'm just gonna give it a try because I just think now it's like the Wild West. Like anybody could really be doing that. And Teezo Touchdown is really, really left. I think I'm gonna have to get used to it. I'm gonna have to definitely go listen to a couple of songs,
yeah. It's
but we'll
I
see.
do like that though. It's kind of like the Wild West. Like there's just so much going on, and it's like there's something for everybody. Like if you can't find music that you like, you're not looking hard enough, or you're just focused on the gimmick part of it too. I think social media kind of made it like
Yeah.
hard to really get into some artists because some people are just like weird, or some people are just like odd, and a lot of people will look at them like, who is this artist, and won't even give their music a chance just because of what they're doing or their gimmick. And the other thing is some people just talk too much. Like some people don't need a mic in front of their face and don't need a camera in front of their face, and that's something that the internet gave everybody the chance to do, is give their opinion all the time. And like some people just don't need that. We just want the music, or the music is just what you need to be talking about. Like,
I do think I wonder if in the long term it takes away from it, right? Like jumping into Burna Boy really fast. I think that Burna Boy had the number one. He was the first Afrobeats artist to have a number one selling album in the UK with "I Told Them." I want to know what you think about the album, but I think what was interesting about the rollout is because they were trying to get him this visibility in front of the public. They had him doing all these interviews, and I saw a lot of people talking about just how much he was like lying. And like I saw somebody say like we need to put Burna Boy up there with The Game as a number one liar in music or something like that because he was saying crazy stuff like J. Cole told him he was Tupac and like nuts stuff. And I'm like, is this taking away from the music? So I'll ask you that. What did you think of "I Told Them"? Because I talked about it briefly last week, and I want to know what you think about it. And then, do you think it takes
you
away from the
mean
music?
the him being number one, or like what are you asking about takes away from the music? I just want clarification.
The
Oh,
just the antics. So basically, him saying Afrobeats has no substance, or him saying that J. Cole told him he was Tupac, or him like he had statements saying something about African Americans like mad long ago. And so when Speedy asked him about it in the interview, he kind of just tap danced around it. You know what I'm saying? So people are talking about the antics and the album's out. So do you away
I
from it?
think antics always end up taking away from the music. I think people get like I was saying, like people get way too focused on like everything else around what's going on instead of just the actual music. But the album itself, I mean, it was probably the first Burna Boy project I got a chance to listen to all the way through. Like a bunch of his other stuff, I wasn't hip on Burna Boy crazy, so I had to kind of get into it with different singles and like, oh, I heard this song, let me listen to the song after it on the album or something like that. But I definitely feel like it was a good project, but I feel like I've heard better Burna Boy projects and Burna Boy music. I don't think he overused the samples like I thought he was going to, but it was a good album. It was definitely a good album. It's something I'm gonna have to listen to more. It definitely wasn't one of those albums from the Afrobeat side to where it just immediately grabbed me and I'm sitting there listening to it over and over. But it was good music. It was good music. I'll definitely say that. I don't know if he told them for real, but it was good music. I'll say that.
I agree with you. I think this is a good, and I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but I think it's a good introduction for somebody who doesn't know Burna Boy.
Yeah.
But there's better Burna Boy out there. Like I got introduced to him via Twice as Tall. Like the fact that it took Diddy being on the album for me to be like, let me go give this a listen. Back in I think that was 2019, and I was like, once I heard it, I was like, bro, Diddy didn't need to be on this. I was like, you could have took Diddy off the entire project, and I would have been fine because the project was that good. So, like I said, I'm not mad at it. It's not bad music. I'm not bad at it. If he's gonna follow this up with some more stuff, but I think he does need to like eventually get back to his old bag for sure. But yeah, I'm not gonna get too much into the Burna Boy album because I feel like I've been talking about Burna Boy every week for the last seven
Yeah.
weeks. I just wanted to know what you thought about it. I want to get into Doja Cat briefly because I think this is an interesting conversation and something that I've been writing about a lot. So Doja Cat just put out another song called Demons, and the video is very visual and has a lot of uh demonic, like she's literally essentially turning into a demon in part of it. And the video before that, she was dressed up as the devil in like the red attire, and she was there with the Grim Reaper or Death and stuff like that. And I see a lot of people on the timeline talking about how they're just not for demonic imagery in that way or depicting the devil. And we've seen this previous with other artists like a Little Nas X or Sam Smith. And I wonder, personally, when I listen to Paint the Town Red and I see her depiction of it in the video, I wasn't mad at the imagery because of the analogy she was making between herself and how the media depicts her as an artist. And so when I heard it that way, I was like, okay, if this is what you're trying to display as art, I'm not mad at it. But I can see how somebody else would be. What do you think about like using demonic imagery in art? Like, what is your opinion on that?
I feel like personally it's kind of a thing that's just been around. Like I feel like that's kind of one of the stigmas of the industry is that there is demonic imagery everywhere, and you see like the Illuminati stuff, and you see some stars in certain people's like people will come up with a bunch of stuff. But I feel like at the end of the day is artistic expression, and you can't really put a cap on how somebody artistically expresses themselves. Like I feel like it was a knock on Kurt Cobain, it was a knock on a bunch of people who have been making music, but it's like even though I personally wouldn't sit here and be talking about the devil and almost praising the devil in a way through your music, I feel like it's kind of just like artistic expression. Like what can you do? Like what can you really say? Like I don't know. You can't tell an artist how to use that paintbrush, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it really depends on like, I guess I'm saying it just depends on the like what is it? Like I said, I wasn't for Lil Nas X like twerking as the devil. That wasn't me. But Paint the Town Red, paint the town red, I wasn't mad at. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like she's saying you all view me as the devil, so I'm just gonna show that in the video. Like that feels like an appropriate, in my opinion, and these are by my morals. But who are my morals? It's like this feels like an appropriate
Yeah.
use of it. You know, I'm like I see why people would be mad at it just even being there, but I feel like it's like that Jay-Z quote. Do we listen to music or do you just skim through it? You know what I'm saying? I feel like everybody just skimming through it because if you hear what she's saying, why are you mad at her for dressing up? And so I feel like this is just another example of people just looking for something to be mad at. But I definitely hear you. It has been around since
Yeah.
they kept
Also,
coming
it's kind
around.
of like a
So
concept thing. Like certain songs are just concepts, or like you said, it's based off of like a certain situation or what people have been saying about me. So now I'm taking this concept and I'm flipping it into something. So I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it's a bad use. I feel like this whole album is probably gonna come together, and then people are gonna be sitting there looking at it like, oh wait, like I get it now. Like it was probably like a whole thing. I don't. But also, I feel like our generation isn't the most like
right,
spiritual. Like they're spiritual in different ways. So I feel like that's also coming out because everybody's not the biggest like churchgoer
yeah,
or believer in anything. So like I met this girl at Wabanzi. She would claim devil worshiper, claim atheist. She would go on TikTok and she would sit there and be like, I worship the devil. I'm demonic. Argue with me. And she would get people on there arguing with her for hours about it. Like it's just a thing now, bro. And it's a thing now mostly because we all have phones to talk about it. Before people probably just did it. Like as soon as Christianity came out, I could definitely see people being like, well, I don't go with that. I'm gonna go the other way. So, I mean, I feel like most of these things go back to social media being in front of our face at all times. Like Doja Cat, to me, the more she talks, the more I'm like, bro, somebody take the camera out of her face. Somebody take the microphone. Like, just let her make music because the music sounded really good. But then she got on the internet. People started hating on her. They let that get in their head. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Hey, man.
I no, I agree with you, and it's like she makes. It's funny because like I feel like the internet makes you forget that sometimes these are real people, like the stars and stuff like that. And I'm like, when I see the things that come out about Doja Cat before she was a big artist, or like who she's dating and stuff like that, it's like these are the like I used to tell people all the time, like you can tell the black girls that didn't grow up around black people, and this is no slight to her. It's nobody's fault if you ain't grow up around black people, but it's like, yo, you can just tell. You can just look at them and tell. It's just like, all right. And so when people are like surprised that she like has these tendencies, like she's in the chat rooms or she's with this old fat white dude, it's like, bro, like,
Are you paying attention, bro? Like,
like what did you expect? I don't know. But I'm looking forward to the album. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna not listen because she's dressed up as the devil because I feel like it's somewhat warranted. So I think, and the thing is, bro, it's like real art. Like if you look at the best artists, they're able to like the concept, like to have a concept throughout your entire album and make it like a moment in time is so hard. And if she's able to tie this in together while also making good music, bro, we're gonna have to start talking about Doja Cat different, bro. Like she might really be her. Like we don't know yet. So I'm excited for
yeah,
the album. So I want to talk about the Headies really quick. So the Headies are an award show. They used to be called like the Nigerian Hip Hop Award Show, but as Afrobeats grew, they sort of broadened it and just called it the Headies. It took place in Atlanta, I'm pretty sure, and there was a ton of artists there that we all know that won a lot of awards, right? So like Remo won male artist of the year. Ashake won 2 awards. Odumodu Block won 2 awards. I really wanted to talk about Ayra Starr and what she had to say because she won female artist of the year and they didn't even announce it on stage. And I thought this was really, really interesting because the artists in the category were some of the biggest artists. They might be bigger globally than the artists that they announced for the other awards. So let me find the tweet real quick. Actually, I'll just pull it up on my phone. She says, okay. She said, I will never be grateful for winning a category that wasn't even deemed fit to be announced on stage. Best female artist, Nah Beans. I'm assuming that's some Nigerian slang. But we work hard, every single one of us. I've seen Tiwa Savage record 4 hit songs in the same night. Thames, Breeze, and Liv's music. We didn't deserve such nonchalance. Nigeria, you didn't raise me to settle for less. Now, I wonder. I don't know if Tiwa Savage was at the award show, but I bet you that Thames wasn't, right? Because Thames just doesn't go outside, and she's on her album rollout. But I think it was interesting too because I guess I can't deep dive into it because this just came out like right before we started recording, And I guess my question more is just why. You know, like I don't want to be the political activist right away because there might be a reason for why they didn't put like why they didn't announce it on stage. I don't know. Like female artist of the year seems like a big thing, but like like Ayra Starr and Thames are debatably bigger than Ashake, than Odumodu Block. And that's not to even take away from them. It's like they should get just as.
I don't know if this is me being misinformed, but I feel like personally, the male artists you named, like aside from Thames, they're probably more like visible, like have more face value. People have probably seen them a little more in the past, like probably like recognition. Yeah, they
Recognition.
probably
Yeah.
have more recognition within the culture and within who would watch that than the women have got or just have. Besides probably Thames, I would say. So maybe that's the reason. Like I feel like that's kind of been a thing for a while though. Like the men on any side of music getting more visibility than women will get. Like how I don't know if I told you about this, but like Taylor Swift is one of the highest selling artists like of all time. And a lot of people don't know that. And she's like 20 slots above Drake. But most people would just think it's Drake. Like stuff like even stuff like that. Like I feel like it's maybe it's a visibility thing. We're sitting here, we're trying to sell a product. Like we have this award show that we're trying to get people to watch. So maybe they were just trying to ride on that side. But I feel like the artists on the female side are making just as good of music as the guys. So
Yeah. Just put some respect on Ayra Starr's name. That's all I have to say. I didn't want to take too long, but just put some respect on her name. The last thing that I really wanted to talk about was Dave. Dave just went #1 in France. He put out 2 singles with an artist called Tia Cola. They're called Meridian and Special. First time I heard them, I feel like, and this is something I've had to get used to, where it's like you're listening to a language, you're listening to music in another language, so you have to get used to how it sounds differently, right? I only listen to one French artist, only one French artist. So when I first heard this, I was like, yo, I'm not really fucking with this. And then it came on in the mix. You know what I'm saying? It came on in a mix after a song, you know, when it's like you ain't got nothing else in the queue. And I was like, oh, okay, bet. And then you go to the music video, and when Dave is speaking in English, they have subtitles in French. And when the French dude is speaking in French, they got the subtitles in English. So that's like, I'm sitting there like they both barring each other. It's going crazy. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I get it. And it's definitely a bop. And they both definitely spitting on that on both songs. I like Special more than Meridian, but Meridian went #1. So I would definitely, I would say definitely go check this out because I think Dave's on like Dave is strategically growing his entire fan base, and I think it's just going under the radar because he's overseas right now. But I feel like eventually, like this album he's got coming up, something like it's gonna be something crazy. Sprinter just went. Sprinter's been #1 or it was #1 for 10 weeks. I think one of Burna Boy's songs took it down, but that was the longest any single has been #1 in the UK, period. And then all like I think it went platinum in a couple of countries, bro. That song is just running up. It's the #1 streamed rap song of the summer. That's what Spotify said. And so like for that to be boosting his visibility globally with Central C, and then now he's boosting his visibility in France, I just think he has something really big planned. And I'm excited to see what it is because he's one of, if not my favorite rapper right now. So I just wanted to mention that because these songs were
I'm
dope.
definitely gonna have to go check that out. I didn't even know Dave dropped again.
Okay, you got a song for us for so last week I told the listeners, I told them that we have 2 playlists now, Real Rhymes and then the Immaculate Vibe. And so I've been sort of updating the Immaculate Vibe, but Real Rhymes is just bars. Do you have any like rap songs you want to add to the playlist this week?
Just bars. Honestly, I've been hearing a lot of just bars lately, but
I
I
can
mean, I have
give
my song, but I will say the Earth Gang. Yeah, my bad.
Oh,
I
you
will
got it.
say
Go
the
ahead.
Earth Gang and JID song I talked about earlier is a really good song. They was kind of barring on there, but it was more of a chill vibe. I would say Die Today by Earth Gang, Spillage Village. Spillage Village is obviously JID and Earth Gang, but I would say go check that out. Die Today. Really good song.
Okay, bet. I'm gonna give you all a song for the Immaculate Vibe, and then a song that just came back up in my playlist the other day. For the Immaculate Vibe, I'll say it's a rap song by a rapper in the UK. His name's Bawow, Bawo. It's called Starts with a Text. That's just a vibe, bruh. That shit is a vibe. But Versace by the Migos featuring Drake came up in my playlist the other day, and I forgot that was a different era of music, bro. That shit was different.
we're shouting out Versace in 2023.
Yes, we're shouting out Versace in 2023, bro. Yes, Medusa head on me like I'm. Yeah, we are, bro.